necesita en estos momentos tan difíciles. La esperanza la encontramos en la Biblia, en el libro de Hechos, capítulo 24, versículo 15, que dice: y tengo una esperanza en Dios, esperanza que también tenemos o tienen estos hombres, de que va a haber una resurrección tanto de justos como de injustos. Pondremos 2 videos que muestran un poco de esta esperanza, que le ayudan mucho a nuestra hermana Pérez. Primero será en inglés y luego en español para beneficio de todos los presentes. Después de los videos, Ana estará compartiendo unas palabras con ustedes. Vamos a ver los videos.
Nearly all religions teach that part of a person survives death. But what does the Bible teach? God created the first man, Adam, from the dust. He had the opportunity to live forever. But when he deliberately disobeyed God, he was told that he would return to the dust, ceasing to exist. What about others who died after Adam? When Jesus was told that his friend Lazarus died, Jesus did not say that Lazarus had gone to heaven. Rather, he said, "Our friend has fallen asleep." What did he mean? Just as someone in a deep sleep is inactive and unaware of his surroundings, the dead are not conscious of anything at all. Further, just as a person can be awakened from a deep sleep, the Bible shows that it is possible to be awakened from death. Jesus did just that for his friend Lazarus. Lazarus had been dead for 4 days. If some part of Lazarus had survived his death and gone to heaven, would Jesus take him out of heaven and force him to live on earth again? No. Lazarus was asleep in the grave. Jesus gave him back his life and reunited him with his family. The Bible promises a time when many people will be resurrected from the dead, just as Lazarus was. Jesus spoke of this wonderful hope when he said, "The one who exercises faith in me, even though he dies, will come to life." What is the resurrection? How can you cope with the pain of grief? To learn more about what the Bible says on this and many other topics, go to jw.org.
Casi todas las religiones enseñan que una parte de nosotros sigue viva después de la muerte. Pero, ¿qué enseña la Biblia? Dios creó al primer hombre, Adán, de polvo. Él tenía la oportunidad de vivir para siempre. Pero cuando decidió desobedecer a Dios, se le dijo que volvería a ser polvo, que dejaría de existir. ¿Y qué les pasaría a quienes murieran después de Adán? Cuando Jesús se enteró de que su amigo Lázaro había muerto, no afirmó que Lázaro se hubiera ido al cielo. Más bien dijo, nuestro amigo Lázaro se ha dormido. ¿A qué se refería? Tal como alguien que está profundamente dormido no realiza ninguna actividad ni se da cuenta de lo que pasa a su alrededor, los muertos no están conscientes de nada. Además, igual que es posible despertar a una persona dormida, la Biblia muestra que es posible despertar a alguien de la muerte. Jesús hizo precisamente eso por su amigo Lázaro. Lázaro llevaba muerto 4 días. Si hubiera seguido viviendo después de morir y se hubiera ido al cielo, ¿lo habría sacado Jesús de allí a la fuerza para traerlo de nuevo a la tierra? No. Más bien, Lázaro estaba dormido en la muerte, en la tumba. Jesús le devolvió la vida y lo reunió con su familia. La Biblia promete que llegará el día en que muchas personas que hayan muerto resucitarán, como pasó con Lázaro. Jesús habló de esta magnífica esperanza cuando dijo: el que demuestre fe en mí, aunque muera, llegará a vivir. ¿Qué es la resurrección? ¿Qué le ayudará a soportar el dolor por la muerte de un ser querido? Si quieres saber lo que dice la Biblia sobre este y otros temas, vaya a jw.org.
We all have a common enemy, death. But many wonder, is death the end of everything? The Bible teaches that there is hope for the dead. Jesus taught that the dead will live again. But he did more than just talk about this hope. He used his God-given power to raise people from the dead. The Bible promises that you can see your dead loved ones again right here on earth. Would you like to know more about the resurrection? Read Lesson 6 in the brochure, Good News from God. You can download it free of charge from jw.org, or you can obtain a copy from any of Jehovah's Witnesses.
Todos tenemos el mismo enemigo, la muerte. Pero muchos se preguntan, ¿acaba ahí todo? La Biblia enseña que hay esperanza para quienes han muerto. Jesús dijo que los muertos volverán a vivir. Pero hizo más que hablar de esta esperanza. Con el poder que Dios le había dado, resucitó a personas que habían muerto. La Biblia promete que podremos reencontrarnos con nuestros seres queridos aquí, en la tierra. ¿Le gustaría saber más sobre la resurrección? Lea la lección 6 del folleto Buenas Noticias de parte de Dios. Puede descargarlo gratis en jw.org o pedirle un ejemplar a un testigo de Jehová.
Hola, buenas tardes a todos. Yo soy Ana, la hermana mayor de Raúl. Muchas gracias por todos haber venido hoy a celebrar la vida de mi hermano Raúl, o Raulín, como todos lo conocen. Yo nunca en mi vida me imaginaría que perderíamos a nuestro hermano, y para mi madre a su hijo menor, especialmente 6 meses de haber perdido a nuestro padre y mi madre a su esposo. Esta pandemia sí que ha traído mucha tristeza a mucha gente, incluyendo a nuestra familia, y parece un poco como una pesadilla. Mi hermano Raúl fue como un hijo para mí, porque yo le llevaba 11 años a él de diferencia, pero siempre actuábamos los dos como niños. Raúl, de chiquito, ¿verdad? Fue un niño muy lindo, muy calmado. Muchas veces fue muy callado. Él nunca pedía mucho. Él siempre era conforme con lo que él tenía. Me acuerdo mirarlo correr afuera con su toalla o con su funda de la almohada. Yo me acuerdo andaba con Miguel, con Chavo, correteando, un niño feliz, porque él con su capa se creía como que era Superman o Batman, ¿verdad? Él muy contento, era un niño muy contento. De chiquillo le encantaba, ¿verdad? El Barney, The Land Before Time, Jurassic Park. La vez cuando le compró Mari como 20,000 dinosaurs y mi mamá le cortó, esos son muchos, regresa. No. Le encantaban él les decía las chirapangas, pero en realidad eran The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, pero para él eran las chirapangas. Le encantaba Spider-Man. Y ya después de grande, ¿verdad? Le encantaba todo de Marvel, igual que yo, DC, Godzilla, Harry Potter, Star Wars, Wakanda Forever, Jurassic World, todo de ciencia ficción. Yo y él éramos como dos niños emocionados cuando salían las películas. Es like, ay, vamos a mirar esta, yeah, we're gonna go watch it, sí. Y desafortunadamente mi hermano no va a poder mirar la nueva película que va a salir de Jurassic World Dominion. Yo sé que le hubiera encantado. Yo la voy a mirar por él y los boys también. Vamos a mirarla. Después ya un poco más grandecito, ¿verdad? Él era un niño callado, serio, con pocos amigos, pero esos amigos fueron de toda la vida, ¿verdad? Como su amigo Eric, su mejor amiga Samantha, su amiga Ashley, su amiga Melissa y su amiga Luz. Mi hermano en todos sus trabajos, ¿verdad? Lo querían tanto en Jack in the Box, en Walgreens, en el Speedy Cash y finalmente Wells Fargo. Era muy trabajador, wink, wink. Y todos sus compañeros de trabajo lo quisieron tanto porque él era una gran persona, ¿verdad? Que muy atenta con ellos, muy considerada. De todos sus amigos he escuchado tantas cosas buenas, que él era tan bueno, tan buen amigo. Él muy joven, ¿verdad? Se hizo cargo de sus hijos, Antonio, Javier, Elijah, a.k.a. Licho, Baby Raúl, aunque siempre nos regaña, I'm not a baby anymore. Okay, Big Raúl then. Y entre los tres, ¿verdad? Mi mamá, mi papá y Raulín se hicieron cargo de ellos. Los quisieron tanto, especialmente mi hermano los adoraba, ¿verdad? Él en todos lados andaba con sus 4 chiquillos, en el parque, en las fiestas, ¿verdad? Los vestía bien guapos. Siempre les gustaba que anduvieran igual los 4. Le encantaba tomarles fotos y, ¿verdad? Ponerlos en el Facebook, como decimos nosotros. Él en verdad adoraba a sus hijos con todo su corazón. Él los llevaba al cine, los llevaba a comer, a donde quiera. Nunca se sintió menos. Él siempre andaba con ellos para arriba y para abajo, siempre muy orgulloso de ellos. Y ojalá que ellos aprendan de él y que nunca olviden que su esfuerzo de su padre y del gran corazón que tenía su papá, Raúl. Él peleó por 6 meses con todas sus fuerzas porque él quería vivir por sus hijos y por nuestra madre. Después que se enteró, ¿verdad?, que perdió a mi papá, eso fue muy duro para él, porque, ¿verdad?, mi papá murió cuando él estaba muy enfermo y por mucho tiempo no le dijimos, ¿verdad? No. Y él preguntaba por él y él preguntaba por él. Y no, está en el hospital, está en el hospital. Y después, ¿verdad?, él se dio cuenta y él le pegó muy duro, ¿verdad?, el enterarse de haber perdido a mi papá. Él perdió su batalla, ¿verdad? Pero él en verdad fue todo un guerrero y él siempre será nuestro héroe, porque le echó muchísimas ganas con todo, después de todo lo que pasó. Fueron muchísimas cosas que pasó él y él peleó y peleó y luchó, pero desafortunadamente, ¿verdad?, perdió la batalla. Y estoy segura que Dios tuvo otros planes para él. Y en verdad que sí nos tomó por sorpresa, porque en verdad no esperábamos. Nosotros teníamos muchas esperanzas de que él iba a estar con nosotros porque había superado lo peor ¿verdad?, de todo esto que pasó. Y ¿verdad?, su cuerpo ya no pudo más. Nuestro único consuelo en nuestras mentes y nuestros corazones es que nuestro Raúl, o Raulín, o Little Papa, y teníamos otro nombre, pero no lo puedo decir aquí enfrente de ustedes, perdón, es muy inapropiado, ya no está sufriendo más. Aunque su cuerpo ya no está con nosotros, a todas sus memorias y sus recuerdos de nuestro Raulín vivirán en nuestros corazones. Aunque ahorita nuestros corazones están rotos en este momento, y yo sé que él no quisiera que estuviéramos tristes. Y este es un lindo sueño que tuve, o a lo mejor me tomé muchas pastillas, o mucho vino, no sé, ¿verdad? O a lo mejor las tres cosas, no sé en verdad. Pero me imagino que mi hermano llegó a la mera hora que mi papá le estaba preparando su carne asada con su sausage, sus jalapeños enredados con bacon, que eran sus favoritos, su pollo y sus fajitas, juntos los mejores amigos otra vez disfrutando y compartiendo con mi abuelita Petra y nuestra tía Ofelia, juntos echándose unas chelas, unas cuantas, y escuchando el boombox preferido de mi papá, escuchando sus canciones de los 80s y sus oldies but goodies. Bueno, pues uno puede soñar, ¿verdad? But until we meet again, little brother, we will think of you always. We will talk about you always. You will never be forgotten. We will hold you close within our hearts, and there you will remain always. Until we meet again. Gracias a Dios por los años de felicidad que nos regalaste, y aunque ya no te encuentres en este mundo, tus recuerdos seguirán dentro de nuestros corazones y por ello tú siempre seguirás viviendo. Les agradecemos de todo corazón por habernos acompañado hoy en este día tan difícil, en ser nuestro gran apoyo. Y por favor les pido que oren por nuestra familia y especialmente por mi madre y mis sobrinos, porque les esperan unos días muy difíciles, pero con mucho amor y apoyo de todos nosotros, todo se puede. Y les agradezco mucho por estar ahí hoy con nosotros. Gracias.
Thank you, Sister, for that. Thank you to everybody that came in, took the day off from work, came in from out of town to pay their respects to my brother and my mom and my sister. So just wanted to say thank you. I did want to say thank you to my older sister. Sorry, I'm gonna try not to cry. She was actually with our brother for most of his battle. When we couldn't go in, she was the only one that was there through his hardest days. And she would tell me about it, and we would talk about it, and we would cry together, and we would laugh together. And, you know, I know it was very difficult for her to see it every day. I actually didn't get to visit or see my brother until I think it was late October or somewhere in October, the middle of October, that I was actually able to see him. And he had already been in the hospital since July. And I told myself and I told my sister, like, okay, I'm gonna try to stay up positive. I'm gonna try to stay upbeat. When I saw him and when I saw him hooked up to all these machines, I just broke down and I cried and he cried. And I know he cried of joy because we hadn't seen each other for months. But it was very hard to see him that way. It was very hard. And, you know, I know it was very hard for my mother too, to have to see her son hooked up to all those machines and all these tubes. And it was a very difficult time. So I know a lot of people have said, he was doing so good, what happened? He was doing good. He was removed off ECMO. His tracheotomy had been removed. He was moved to physical therapy, and he was there. He did 2 physical therapy clinics back to back, and I think he knew his time was coming. All he talked about was how bad he wanted to go home. And him and I had a private discussion, because he had called me crying one evening and he just said he couldn't do it anymore. And I know he tried. He tried really hard. And he told me he just wanted to go home. He wanted to go home and see his boys and just see that our father was no longer with us in the home, because he couldn't believe that our dad had passed away. And I think that's all he needed. That was his closure. And I would like to think that he is with my dad, you know, somewhere. They were best friends, him and my dad. My brother didn't really have male friends. My dad didn't really have male friends other than his coworkers. So, you know, they would hang out together, and my mom would get after them for being borrachos outside, you know, having beers and drinking, and my mom getting after my dad, you know, about his high blood pressure, and then my brother had high blood pressure, and so, you know, that was their life, and they were best friends. And I'm sure that you guys have noticed most of the pictures, there's alcohol involved. That was who we were. I know, that was who we were. My daughter actually told me that she had started counting how many beers were in each picture. So, you know, we did our best to try to find pictures without him holding a beer. I did offer to filter and put little emoji faces over the beers. The milk, yeah, a can of milk or something. But yeah, so thank you to my sister for having to endure those hard months by yourself. You worked and you were visiting him, and I didn't realize how hard it was till I was doing it myself, and I gave you that break. And you know, it was hard. It was very hard. I know Mitzi, I didn't see Mitzi here. She's not here, okay. Mitzi, also, she's a nurse, and which is one of the twins, and she, I know, would leave her area to go check on my brother when we ourselves couldn't go in there. So she would check on my brother, and I know when my dad was in the hospital, she would go check on my dad. And so I did want to say thank you to Mitzi too for having to, watch over them while we couldn't. And, we were fortunate enough to have her there, to supervise and make sure they were good and talk to them. And she turned on their radios, and my dad's little radio with his soft rock. What station is it, sister? Kono. Yeah, they made sure to always have his Kono on. So yeah, just wanted to say thank you. It is very hard, regardless of my sister, my brother, and myself, between all three of us, I would like to say we do share the same dad. Most people think that we look so different. We've been asked multiple times. But my sister and my brother have an 11-year age difference. I'm the one that's in the middle. And, oddly enough, between my sister and my brother, we always had a really good relationship as adults, not as much as a teenager. Anna was kind of mean when she was young, but, she got older. As she got older, we all had a very close, tight-knit relationship. We had great times. We would drink together, we would hang out together, we would laugh together, we would cry together, we would share each other's frustrations, we would share, and some of us would overly share. Anna, that's to you. But we had just a great relationship, and, like my sister said, my brother was like our son. He had a great childhood. He was such a good kid. He really was. He never really gave my mom problems. I actually was gonna mention the towel cape myself, because I remember my brother wanted, at the time they were selling the capes with the mask at the flea market, and, we didn't have the money to buy the little plastic cape with the mask. So my grandmother gave him a towel and pinned it. And he thought he was just invincible. He, ran around the neighborhood with a pillowcase or a towel. And then the next thing we knew, the other kids were also running around with pillowcases and towels. And, that's who my brother was. And I will cherish his memories forever. With that said, as an adult, my brother flourished into a wonderful person. He became a single dad at a very young age. He took that responsibility on, and, we assured him, like, are you sure? You're so young. It's going to be hard. And, he never questioned it. He knew what he wanted, and he took it on full force. And, like my sister said, he always made sure to always have the boys, and they always had them together, and they do always match. And he tried his best to be a single parent, and with the help of my father and my mother as well. And, like my sister had mentioned, he loved sci-fi. That's the boombox, by the way. That was my dad's boombox. He was set to inherit my dad's boombox. So, yeah. But he did love sci-fi. He loved, that was the one thing that my siblings and we shared, our love for sci-fi. They were a little more into Star Wars versus myself. I was never really, a Star Wars person. He is with Godzilla, that we managed to break, I think, after 3 hits, so it wasn't even worth the time, I think, sister. Yeah. Yeah, there's my grandmother and my brother taking a shot. It was Tequila Sunday. We used to do Tequila Sundays. It was a barbecue at my sister's, and, Grandma then would be dying the next day because she was la presión for her. But ultimately, that's what happened after his body just gave out, and it's been hard. It's been very hard for his sons, my mother, us, and I do want to say thank you to everybody that has offered their condolences, and the Jehovah Witness, my mom's Jehovah Witness family that's been dropping off lunch and breakfast, lunch, and dinner sometimes to her and the boys so that my mom doesn't have to worry about cooking. So thank you. Yeah, it's been hard. I will miss my baby brother very much, and I know my sister will. But thank you guys for coming, and I'm sorry, I was trying not to break down. I think, and I did forget to say Ashley, Samantha, they're gonna be up next. I did want to tell you guys thank you. Out of all of my brother's friends, you two were the ones that took times out of your schedule to go visit him at the hospital and take him food and all that good stuff. And Sam, I know my brother never got his baby girl, so I know when you had your baby girl, he was so excited when you had your baby, because it was vicariously the daughter he never had. So thank you guys really for being there for our brother. We really appreciate it.
Hi, my name is Samantha. I just want to start off by saying, Antonio, Elijah, Raul, Javi, y'all meant everything to your dad. And there's no other way I can explain y'all were the world to him. He would do anything for y'all, and he loved y'all so much, and I just want y'all to really know that. I know y'all have heard that so many times before, but I think when y'all grow up, y'all will really understand how much y'all meant to him. So I've known Raul for about 10 years now, man. The way we met was I worked with him through Walgreens, and the tattoo that he has on his chest, I actually had the necklace to it. So it's a video game called Kingdom Hearts, and that's actually the shirt that I'm wearing right now. I tried looking everywhere for clothes to wear, and I was just like, I'm just gonna go in this because it was something that he gave me, and it's something that just correlates together. But so that's how we started our friendship 10 years ago, and throughout these 10 years, they have been the most amazing 10 years of my life. I started off with me just being in a little apartment, and Raul was always so very accepting. Like, he would come over to my apartment, and we would just drink and sit on the floor and talk, and he was never judgmental about what I had or what I didn't have. You know, like I said, I had no furniture, so he would just join me at my apartment, and we would just have a couple of drinks and talk. And as years passed by, we just became closer and closer and closer, and I became more of like family to him. Like, the way I see it is, wherever I went, Raul made sure that I tagged along. So like, we went to Corpus together. There's a few pictures up there, and I think in 2020 we went to the lake together with his family, and it's just very hard thing that I've had to go through because Raul really meant a lot to me. He was my best friend, and it's just so hard losing my best friend. I feel like I lost myself losing him, but I know that he cared about me a lot, and it wasn't always just, you know, me. It was more of like, whenever I needed something, he was always there for me. So like, when my sister came to stay with me, Raul was the first one to put food in my refrigerator so that me and my sister had something to eat. Or when my boyfriend had COVID, Raul was the first one to make sure that he ordered Chinese food so that not only I can eat, but so that my family can eat. And that just shows the type of person that he was. He wasn't selfish. He was very giving, and he was very loving, and he was very accepting, and I just couldn't have asked for a better friend. And I'm going to miss him a lot, but I'm so thankful that he's not suffering anymore. I couldn't be more thankful that, you know, his body's finally at rest and that he could finally be at peace. And like they mentioned, that he finally got the closure that he had, because he told me so many times that all he wanted was just to go home, and all he wanted was just to see his family. And I'm so glad and I'm so thankful that he was able to get his last wishes. So Raul, I love you and I miss you and I know I'll see you one day. Just save one more drink for me, please.
This is actually kind of hard for me because if you know me, I like to talk. First, I did want to take a moment to thank his family and Samantha. You are the reason Raul was the man that he was. And he was a great man. The role that you played in his life resulted into the man that he became. There's a saying that goes around that says, you can meet somebody 2 days, 2 weeks, know them for 2 months, and they will still have better intentions for you than somebody you've known for 20 years. That was Raul for me. I didn't know him long, but I knew him long enough for him to flip my world upside down and right side up. He met me as my world was completely falling apart. My kids and I had just lost our house to a fire. And I had promised myself that I was done. It just was going to be me and the kids, and I wanted to go numb. Raul stepped and said, nah. George Sand once wrote, there is only one happiness in life, to love and be loved. Gathered together, I know a lot of you don't know me. That was one thing I can say we all have in common. We loved him. But Raul was many things to everyone here. He was a caring son, a goofy baby brother, a forever friend. But out of everything that he's ever been called, the one that Raul held most important to his life was that he was a devout and ever-loving father. Raul had one of the greatest and biggest hearts I've ever known. He accepted you as you were. He never asked or expected you to change for any reason or even for him. If he knew you were happy, that was enough for him. He was going to be your biggest supporter, your shoulder to cry on. And when you had something to celebrate, he was your person. And as most of you already know, he knew how to celebrate. He would try and sweet talk you when he wanted to go out, promising you, I only have one, just one, maybe a big one, but just one. Even though we all knew that one was going to turn into 1 plus, 10 more, you still went. Because there was nothing funnier than his cheesy comebacks when he'd get brave. And then after he felt real confident of saying it, he'd look at you and go, "Mwah." When I think of Raul now, I picture him at the side of the beach on a perfect day, that big old sun hat of his, those big old sunglasses. His hands gripping that pole like he swear he's going to catch something. And his dad to the right of him. When the world was too much, that's where you found Raul. By anywhere that let you fish and swim at the same time. And he'd surround himself with his kids, his loved ones, barbecue, and a few cold beers. That was his happy place. I remember getting pictures and videos of him. He was cracking up with his sister. He was messing with Sam and the boys because he was being unnecessarily and extremely competitive in Pokemon. He used to get a kick out of joining these raids and talking his trash to everybody. And then when he finally got that shiny Pokemon or legendary Pokemon, he'd flood your text messages with pictures of it. Look what I got. I haven't opened that game since August. And I don't think I'm going to. There will be no one that can compare to Raul for me. His laughter was contagious. His smile lit up a room. And his energy just drew you in. His love was something unmatched, unconditional, and genuine. Losing Raul was a loss that I won't soon get over. He had such a huge impact on my life that the thought of not being able to share it with him anymore is a reality that I'm still in denial about. So when I'm able to, I'll look for things that remind me of him. For the sound of his laugh, I look to his sister Anna. It sounds just like his. For his wholesome smile, I look to his mom. Because that's where he got that wholesome smile. And when I want to remember what his love felt like, I'll look at his kids. Because Raul loved no one the way he loved his babies. I know for certain that we never lose the people we love, even to death. I believe he's here with us in every act, thought, and decision. His love left such an imprint in our lives. Now that he's gone, it feels like he took a part of it. They say grieving comes in waves. And sometimes I feel like I'm drowning, kind of like today. But on those days, he's the one that got me through them. Something that Raul told me during one of our visits just kind of stuck with me. We were sitting together at the rehab facility, and we were talking about the past and the future, how he wanted to live his life going forward, how he wanted to forgive and be forgiven for a lot of things that he had held on to. In the middle of talking, he grabbed my hand, which kind of took me back because, here's this guy that's barely lifting, and he grabbed my hand. And he looked at me and he said, "All I've ever wanted was for you to be happy, Ash." Everyone grieves in their own way. There is no right or wrong way to do it. But I hope in the moments that mean the most to you, good or bad, you think of him and remember that all he ever wanted was his loved ones to be happy. While I was trying to get together the words to say today, I found a quote by Robin Williams, and I feel like what he said matched a lot to what I feel Raul would wanted. Please, don't worry so much, because in the end, none of us have very long on this earth. Life is fleeting, and if you're ever in distress, cast your eyes to the summer sky. And when a shooting star streaks across the blackness, make a wish. Think of me. Make your life spectacular. Raul, you changed my life. And I'll miss you for always. And I'll love you forever.
We are inviting anyone that wanted to speak. You could come up and speak. If not, I know. Hey, shh, Mari.
I have another list right here. I'm gonna go over, okay? Now I'm gonna do it in English.
I know. So that's Mari. So we basically grew up as siblings because she's closer in age to us than our mother. Mari did spoil him a lot, and she's also the one that would lecture him all the time and lecture us. I remember it was Christmas or Thanksgiving that we had beer. We always have beers, but we were drinking, and Mari was like, why are you drinking, Raul? Give me that beer. And Raul's like, I'm 23. Oh, because she was like, you're not even old enough to drink. And he's like, I'm 23. But she still took the beer from him. Yes. I know, so rude. But yeah, so even though it was a love-hate relationship for sure, because she was the one that would lecture us all the time and get mad at us.
I still do.
She still does.
No, we'd be like, okay, we're gonna tell Mari, and Mari's gonna handle you.
I know, right?
Ay, no, déjame.
Threaten.
Pues sí, soy la tía de Raúl. La verdad no quería hablar porque me siento muy culpable. Por haberlo hecho. Mis mensajes constantes eran a él de que él podía, de que era todo un hombre, tenía toda la fuerza del mundo. Siempre fui muy dura con él, hasta por eso me desborró del Facebook. Porque constantemente, ¿verdad? Yo y Esther estábamos, ¿verdad? De que él era joven, tenía un futuro, tenía ahora estos niños, ¿verdad? Yo siempre le decía, es que te tienes que conseguir una mujer, uno siempre necesita el apoyo, ¿verdad? De otra persona para hacer las cosas. El niño pues fue, ¿qué les puedo decir? Fue mi adoración. Raulín fue el niño más chiquito, pues fue lo que teníamos en casa. Y durante todo nuestro tiempo, él sabía que conmigo podía contar incondicionalmente, ¿verdad? Cuando él ya realmente se miraba en un problema, él sabía perfectamente a quién venir. Pero estos últimos días, ¿verdad? Hasta el último día de su muerte yo fui dura con él. Y quería que sacara fuerzas, yo no sé de dónde, ¿verdad? Pero lo hice que comiera, que tomara, que hiciera ejercicios. Y yo le decía, es que Raúl, tenemos que salir de esto, ¿verdad? Y por eso tal vez ahorita cuando estoy escuchando and I'm listening to everybody's, wonderful things, I know Raúl was a great human being, que Esther era de niño, él jamás andaba de grosero, que él quería las cosas más caras o que él anduviera, ¿verdad? Él siempre fue un niño y un chavalo en la preparatoria pacífico, él lo que Esther le diera de comer, él se comía, él con la gorda nunca supo Esther, por eso ella pensaba que toda la juventud o todos los niños eran así, ¿verdad? Pero tristemente pues no, habrán cambiado mucho. Pero el gordo nos deja una lección de vida que hoy yo pienso que también aprendo yo misma, porque en veces uno se preocupa de tantas cosas, ¿verdad? Como yo siempre estoy pensando en el futuro, en lo de mis hijos, en qué va a ser, en qué voy a hacer, y mira, la vida es tan corta, ¿verdad? Yo tanto le decía a él que cuidara tanto todo, su imagen, su comida, su trabajo, ¿verdad? Todo, porque en el futuro, siempre decía Raúl, ¿qué va a ser de ti? Gordo, y, ¿verdad? Siempre fui la tía, se me hace que, pues, la regañona, la que lo trajo siempre ¿verdad? Bien cortito, pero también la que Él lo quiso incondicionalmente. Yo al gordo me duele tanto perderlo, pero yo sé que al verlo como lo miré y es ya no verlo sufrir, no ver que esté en paz, en un mejor lugar, con mi cuñado y con mi mamá. Ahora sí que ya sabe que lo va a traer bien cortito también. Y mi tía Ofelia, pues más, va a estar consentido. So, les agradezco a todas, a todos los que nos han ayudado, a mi hermana que me duele en el alma todo lo que le está pasando y que quisiera que no tuviera ella ese dolor. Pero yo sé que la gorda es muy fuerte y que vamos a salir todos en familia y con los amigos y todos de esto que estamos pasando en estos momentos. So, les agradezco y gordo, nos miraremos algún día y más vale que me tengas en el Facebook, maloso.
Thank you, Marty. My name is Dennis Caballero, and I'm the father of Maritza and Melissa Caballero. From the Caballero family, my condolences to the Perez family. And I've known Brother Raul for a long, long time, and I've had the privilege to get to know him. I believe he was 4 years old when I met him. Even though that I moved away from Texas for a while, I always kept up with him. But because he did have me on Facebook. But I'll echo some of the words that I've heard in these testimonies because it's so difficult, you know, when we lose a loved one and their life is shortened. And you know, we rely on our spiritual life. We rely on our belief that we will be together one of these days. But we hear about compassion, we hear about love, we hear about forgiveness, and most importantly, we hear about a man here who was compassionate for his sons. And now the bar has been raised for you, 4 gentlemen there. You have no other choice but to succeed in life. You know, in these dark days that will come up, when you're in school or when you're on your first date or when you're on your anything in life, you know, you'll always have the guidance of your father there. You know, there's no turning back now. But you know, Raul was a very special person. You know, I remember, you know, looking at Facebook, and I remember I would say he's doing what? He went from being single to being a father of 4 kids. In my eyes, in a matter of, you know, I don't remember the timeline, but it almost appeared like it was overnight. And to me, that was very honoring. To me, it was. Not everybody, right, says, I'm going to be a dad, especially in today's society where we see a lot of people abandon that gift in life. But we saw a young man who was willing to take on that responsibility, and he was not looking at the accounts or the budgets that, you know, can I do this? He did it with a heart of a servant leader. You know, and that's a very, very special person. You know, in my personal life and the education that I've gotten and the things that I do for a living, I always look for those people to lead me in life. A person who's going to have a servant leader heart, because that's the type of person you want to surround yourself with. And that's who my brother was, full of love, full of life. I would look at the pictures, and I always admired. I would say, you know, why can't I live a life like that? You know, why can't I be at the beach? Why can't I be surrounded? Why, God, have you given me a task in life that has set me away from my family and to do things that are important in life? Sure, but you know, it's very admiring that, you know, you lived a life that was very close to your family, in arm's reach. that your boys are healthy, they're in a good school, you had loving parents, and then there's going to be those difficult times in life, and that we, for me, it was extremely difficult because I was alone where I was at in life, but it's the family structure is what I'm trying to say. He was surrounded by friends and family. We've heard about people come up here and testify about who this young man was, and it's very, very, very admiring and extremely difficult for the family. I can't imagine the pain, and the only pain I have is to know that when I lost my mom, I relied on family and I relied on my faith. I will always miss you, brother. I will always think about you. My condolences to the Perez family.
Elijah, did you want to come up? Or boys? Any of the boys? Javi? They were contemplating. Just come on. All four of you come together. Oh, and I do want to say if Raul asked you for money and he still owes you money, sorry, it's now a gift. Because I know of some of his closest friends, especially Mari, my mom, Anna. Hey, can I borrow $15? I'll pay you back. Yeah, he had a very high balance with all of us. Come on, baby. Do you want to talk? Just say thank you. Just say your name and say thank you. So up here, I know the boys probably are a little shy. We have Antonio, the oldest. We have Javier, second oldest. We have Elijah, and then we have baby. Baby Raul. Which he does not like baby, but we still call him baby.
It's gonna be
Forever baby. Do you guys want to say something? Thank you. No? Okay, that's fine. All right. All right. You could have a seat. Elijah, you want to say something? Maybe?
I think he wants to say something.
Come.
Come on, say something.
We're right here.
You still have your tag on.
Does he really? Oh my God.
It's okay.
It's all right. We'll take it. We could return it. I guess.
So, when my dad was in the hospital, all I could think about is whenever he was in the hospital, I would worry about him a lot. And when Popo passed away, I was sad. And I didn't want him to end up like him. He was a great dad. So, thank you.
Your mask, baby. No, I mean, if you don't have to. That's fine. They don't want to. Anybody else wanted to say something? Oh, well, thank you all again. I know that my sister asked my ex-husband, well, the father of Michaela and Carlos, if he could grace us with his singing. So he'll be coming up.
My apologies. You caught me at a difficult moment. It really has been great to see all the pictures and stuff on the slideshow. I really appreciate this. I know it means a lot to a lot of us. I went a lot of years and haven't seen Junior, but probably I always called him Junior. A couple times over the last dozen years. So a large part of my memory is 10-year-old Junior. Met him shortly after his 10th birthday. So, love the pictures. Excuse me. His oldest sister requested that I sing Ave Maria, so I will do my best to do that for him. Ave Maria, gratia plena, Dominus tecum, benedicta tu in mulieribus, benedictus fructus ventris tui, Iesus. Sancta Maria, Sancta Maria, Maria, ora pro nobis moris peccatoribus, nunc et in hora mortis nostrae. Amen. Amen.
Hi, my name is Moses. I'm the boyfriend of Samantha, her Raul's best friend. Me and Raul didn't know each other too long, only a few years. We met through Samantha and we started hanging out a lot more once we had our kids and stuff and started doing things together. We used to get together every Wednesday and go play Pokemon, that game that y'all talked about. I never used to really play it too much. They would always try to get me to play it. But I would tell them it's for nerds, so I'd just stay home and not play. And then they finally got me to download that game, and I started going and ended up getting addicted to it. And me and Raul would message each other all the time, all the Pokemon we were catching stuff, shinies and everything. Then he would try getting me in trouble and inviting me to places, telling Samantha that they had shiny Pokemon at Ojos Locos or Sugars. Yeah, we had some good times. Yeah, but within the time that me and Raul knew each other, we got pretty close. You know, we would always talk about doing things, going fishing and doing stuff. One night, we were all together drinking, all the kids were playing and stuff. Me and Raul sat outside and drank, and we were talking. We were for a good while, so about 4 or 5 in the morning. I remember towards the end of the night, we were talking about Samantha and how he was happy that she found someone good and that she was finally happy. And I was telling him how, like, I was happy that she had such a good friend, someone that I liked too. And I remember we stood up and everything, and we hugged each other. There might have even been some kisses on the cheek, who knows. But yeah, I liked Raul a lot. We got along real good, and he was a really good guy. He was good to his kids, and you know, I hope I'm like that one day too, just like him. He was a good dad, and that's all, you know, every dad wants to be, is just a good dad to their kids, and he did do that. Raul is a good guy. He will be missed. All right, man. Enjoy that cold one on your way to heaven.
Man, they're tall. So that pretty much concludes the services. I do want to say, lastly, thank you. I know there's nobody here, but Methodist Hospital really took care of our brother for all those months. They took really good care of him. He then went to Wellsprings, right? Wellsprings? No, Kindred, yeah, and then the staff at Kindred took care of him for a month, even though it wasn't his favorite place. And then lastly, it was Wellsprings Rehabilitation. So throughout his entire fight, you know, the staff, the nurses, the CNAs, RNAs, the doctors, they all just took really good care of him. Thank you for the flowers. But thank you again, everybody, for coming. We really appreciate you taking the time. And that's pretty much it. Thank you.